Okay, so we're getting really close. Had to do a few more things. To get it up here, initially, I ended up having to remove the muffler, which was simple. That was just take this one bolt out and the thing just pulls right out after you take the two springs off. So basically, you take this out, you take off two springs, and the muffler just literally pulls right out. Once you pull that out, then you just take off the mid pipe or the down pipe, whatever you want to call it. You take off the top two here, and then it drops down and you can just leave the bottom two hanging there. So I just have the mid pipe kind of hanging off the side. Once that was out, the post came right, the post was under here before, it came right out and slid up nicely. Now, and then once I got up to here, I was hitting the intercooler. So I ended up just taking one bolt. I mean, it really comes apart fast. Take one bolt out here, take the other hose off. Now the intercooler's off, sitting over there. So once I got that out, the post just came right out, went this way, and now I'm kind of like right here. This is where I'm at right here. It's laying here, and I'm really close to having it coming out of here. Trying to get that T to come through there. So what I had to do is I had to take the pyramid frame, unbolted at the bottom here at the chain case, unbolted at the top. Same on this side, unbolted at just the top on this side. And I think, and you can kind of move things around a little bit now. You can kind of move things just a little bit, not a lot, but just enough that I think I can finagle this post out. Okay, came out. A little bit of work, but I got it out. There it is. That's the 4-stroke steering post. Has a bend in it, has the T on top, and has all that at the bottom there, obviously. So now, if I go over to the light, you can see where I got the two marks scribed? That's where it comes close to the frame. So now what I'm going to be able to do is do some test fitment, because now what should happen is it's going to go back under here, obviously, but now it's going to go on top of this. Instead, see, before it was behind here. That's where I pulled it out of. That's why it was such a struggle. But once you get it out of there, now it's going to mount here. So putting it back in is really easy, basically, compared to taking it out, because it just lays here and it gets bolted in here. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably mock it up here and just lightly put the bolts back together, and I'll see exactly where it hits and make sure that my mock it up here. I don't think I was aiming the camera, sorry. But basically mock it up where it's supposed to go in the post forward position and see where it taps here, because it's going to touch right here. And then make sure that my marks are good, which they should be, but they might be slightly different now that it's up higher. And then before I actually modify this by heating it up, I'm just going to make sure everything goes back on okay, because this is a newer model. From what I understand, I don't even think anybody's got one of these yet. So I'm lucky to have mine, much less be working on it. So with this new, because the old 900T didn't have this here. This is the throttle cable system. So I have to make sure that everything clears okay. Now this should be fine, because the post is going to be way up here. Before it was under here. So it's actually farther away from that. But what it's a little closer to is this ECU. So I want to make sure that it's going to clear the ECU. Okay. So I got the post back in, and I've set it in place in front of the cross member. So, it used to be back here before in these back holes. Now the rear bolt is in this center hole. And there was never a bolt in this hole, ever was. Even when it was back here, it was open. So there's no concern with that. you're going to clamp it together with this, and then you're going to take the other bolt with the spacer and you're going to put that back there. So that's kind of up here. So it's very simple once you don't have to go underneath that cross member. I mean, now we're in front of the cross member. Just so much easier. So what I did is I just kind of bolted it in temporarily, and I tightened up one side so we know exactly where it's going to be. I tightened up this. See, it's just clearing nicely now. Now, if you look up further where the ECU is, you see right there is where it hit that little piece of plastic right in there. You can see I just trimmed out the corner of that plastic right there. And now it completely misses that. So that's the mock-up. Let me get this light off here. So now this is from the top angle. See how nicely that misses? I mean, it's close, but that's fine. And of course, can't really tell. I don't know if I can get an angle from under here. Probably not. But I am in that post forward position. So basically you're not using the original hole here. You're using, it's still the back of the post bracket, like this piece that clamps around the post. You're still using the rear hole, but you've moved it from here to here. So you've moved it probably quite a bit. And of course, you don't use the front hole, but you never did. Even when it was here, it was just open. So this hole is never used. So you only put one bolt in here, and then the one that had the spacer in it that used to be here goes back here now. And bolt that back up, bolt this back up, bolt that back up, and then put this all back together, and then everything's going to start going back together. Now, of course, everything's going to have to make sure all your wires are in the right place, zip tie everything back together. There's a lot to go back together. But that's it. Like it's clearing. I'm in the post forward position, and we are good to go. I mean, obviously, I got to hook the skis back up, but that's just that other bolt there, which is pretty simple. That's this one here. This arm just goes right to, that bolts right to there. And that washer, just in case anybody's wondering, that goes on the bottom. So it goes washer on the bottom of here, and just the nut, nothing else goes on the top. But that, so basically you're not changing your ski stance or anything. All that's gonna remain. And now when this bolts back together, I'm not sure, I'll let you guys know, but there is a slight chance that the steering, like basically the handlebars, may not be perfectly straight with the skis because we have changed that angle slightly. I think that's probably going to be darn close. So if it is slightly off, then there'll have to be an adjustment made to that to get the skis straight with the handlebars. But I'll let you guys know if that. Good angle here. So I've got it bolted in to the hole. So the rear of the post, this one goes through this hole. Used to be back here. It's 2 1/8 difference. 2 1/8 center to center. We've moved the post forward. Front hole's not used. It was not used before either. Used to have a spacer, and this part was back here. So now we will take the spacer and put it in through here and put the bolt here afterwards. I did reroute these wires. These wires used to be up here. These, one goes to the, looks like the brake, and the other one comes over to the the throttle side, so probably heated. And they basically come around and plug right here and here, here and here. So you can just unplug them and run them under here through the old hole. That's what I did with those. I think that'll work out good. We'll see as I start putting it back together. But this is just a good angle. You can see it articulating through its paces there. The bottom's completely bolted up, all Loctited. You can see where I've got the little divot. It's all repainted and everything, and see, it completely clears it. Now I did put a spacer in down there at the bottom, and there's a spacer right there. 3/16 spacer between the block and the frame, and there's still lots of thread left. I Loctited these, of course, and I Loctited the one on the back there, this one here. Loctited washer goes on the bottom, so you got the post, the ball post stud, washer, then the steering post, then that 3/16 aluminum plate between the frame and the steering post.